Okay. Hello and welcome to the Workspace Wednesday end user updates. These are for September. Obviously, last month we had 2 months to do because of the summer holidays, but these are just last month's updates. And as you'll see shortly, a lot of them are very AI focused. A lot of them is all to do with integration and AI and how it's moving forward, as I'm sure you've probably, some of these things obviously, because they were rolled out last month, you may, by using the tools, have noticed some of them you may not have. So it's good to sort of like just get an update on what has happened last month going into this month. So the first update is if you use your mobile device or your Android device, it won't work on iOS, but if you're scanning into your mobile device a document in Google Drive, it gives you now more control, a bit like it does in an Android phone. If you've got a photograph, for example, it'll give you all kinds of things that you can do. So they've basically taken, I think, the format for like Google Photos and put it into Google Drive, so that if you're scanning into Google Drive, you now have the same editing functions that you would get within Google Photos. Not quite the same, obviously, because we're talking about documents, not photographs. It's just another useful thing. This next one is to do with the renaming conventions when it comes to Gemini Education. So Gemini Education is now going to be called Google AI Pro for Education. Why they changed the name, I don't know. But it will tell you there specifically what you can expect of your subscriptions at the next renewal of your subscription. So for example, the first one there is if you've got the Gemini Education subscription, you'll have the full access to all of the education premium features with Gemini, but you'll see in your subscriptions page in the admin console, next time it renews, it won't be called that anymore. It'll just be called Google AI Pro for Education.
Just a quick jump in on that one as well. And Dave, you know that I'll be disappointed with this, but yeah, reduction in cost as well. So if you if you had the Gemini education premium model, it used to be $302.40 for a year. Sorry, $302.60. It's now been reduced to the $201.40 price, which is the same as the Gemini for Education. So one price, one model kind of makes more sense, I think, rather than having two different ones. So yeah, a slight reduction in cost there for anyone who renews when their renewal is due. Thanks, James.
Yeah, and obviously it's the same data centers running it all. So it's just basically a change in name and change in pricing point. This next one is to do with Google Slides. So now it's it's just sort of like adding more functionality in. So now you can sort of like use create a Google video. This is only if you've got the AI Pro for Education. If you're not on the Gemini for Education or the AI Pro for Education, so it's now known, you won't get that. But it tells you there exactly how to access it. You open up the vids.new, plan your story, enter a prompt that references a relevant slide presentation using the @ symbol, and it will create the video within your slide. This one is, you've probably seen this one, I would imagine, if you use Google Chat an awful lot. Now you've got sort of like push notifications for your reactions to Google Chat. So if someone is basically sending you a chat message, you can now sort of like respond to it with an emoji, thumbs up, things like that. We've been using it for quite a long time now, but it's just to let you know that that is available in case you hadn't seen it. This one is a collaboration with Google. So this is OpenStax. So OpenStax is a free peer-reviewed textbooks. So it allows you to create interactive notebooks with their free content. So if you've got things like, as it says there, biology, psychology, business, things like that, you can use the free textbooks to create your learning content within Classroom and within Notebook LM as well. This one, if ever you've sort of like got a very large spreadsheet that multiple people are adding to and doing this and doing that, Google have now just condensed that down, because you don't want to see the entire history of that sheet, because if you've got a team of people working on it, it's going to take you a long time. So basically what they're doing is they're condensing it, and it's basically you're just looking at relevant edits and ones that have basically been changed recently. Just save you time looking through the history of it. This one you've probably seen, because you probably all use Google Drive an awful lot. This is now Gemini looking at your Google Drive. So you can see there in the image, you've got your Welcome to Drive page, you recently opened documents, but above that, you've now got the Gemini content. So it can say, catch me up on what's been going on, you know, find a file, learn about what's going on in this folder. It's just basically using AI within Google Drive to kind of like pull to your attention what is relevant and what is up to date. This one again, AI, it's Notebook LM. So this, you can now create flashcards, quizzes, and new reports using Notebook LM. So if you've got you know, your source material, for example, your teaching material, and you need to kind of like create a quiz or flashcards for you know, student revision or something like that, you can now do it using Notebook LM. Very useful from a teaching point of view. This one is to do with different apps that you may add into Google Chat. Now, there's a caveat to that, because most administrators will have these apps tied down as to what they can and cannot install for all kinds of security reasons, GDPR and things like that. But if it is an app that you know, your domain administrator has allowed, you know, in the past, if you were trying to use, they give the example there of a polling app, you would need to install the app. But once that has been done now, you won't need to reinstall it again. It will automatically be installed, so that you can, within chat, you can kind of like put a poll up and let users start using it right away. Again, it's very dependent on what your admin allows. This one is just more functionality between Google and Microsoft in particular. And if you don't know, we are actually a Microsoft partner as well as a Google partner. So if you've got any sort of like questions about Microsoft licensing or anything like that, you can contact us about that. Not just Google, we do Microsoft as well, along with a lot of other things. But so this is basically, if you're interacting between two different partners, and say I send out a Google Meet link and the other person's using Outlook, guess what? Now it works seamlessly. It'll go into their Outlook calendar service and they'll get the Google Meet directly in there. This one is an interesting one. This is to do with calendars that are being copied or duplicated. So it's to do with privacy. So if someone takes a calendar event and copies it or duplicates it, what it won't do is it will not copy over the Meet conference link. So if someone wants to participate in a duplicated Meet, for example, within the calendar, they would need to copy the code over separately. So this one used to be 18 and over, but now, you know, this is using Canvas as well within the Gemini app. And because obviously something's happened with the Canvas app, that they've sort of like said, now we can make that available to the under 18s. That means that your students can now create their own quizzes and things using the Gemini app. So it's just opening it up a little bit. they probably had to go through, due process as to, what the Canvas app can actually do. But, upload the relevant documents, put a prompt in, as it says there, give me a practice quiz about the nervous system, and students can do that as well. So I suppose it's helping with self-learning and self-prep. So, I know for my own children, they come home from school and they're revising for their exams or whatever, and they've got all of this great teacher produced information that they've been given. But, in the olden days, you might have to write yourself a little quiz. Now you can use Google, use the Gemini app, and kind of like go, take this, give me a quiz so that I can quiz myself to see whether I'm ready for the exam. Very useful. And obviously teachers can do the same thing with their classes as well. This is to do with not with Chrome OS, this is to do with the Chrome browser. So this is rolling out, we're starting the rollout. If you've got the Chrome browser on Windows machines, or if you've got the Chrome browser on macOS, MacBooks and things like that, Gemini is now coming to the Chrome browser on those devices. So you'll be able to have all the Gemini functionality, or as it's now, what's it now known as, Google AI Pro for Education. It basically is the Gemini AI app. This one is Gems within the Gemini app. So some of you have been using Gems. Now you can sort of like share those gems, let people copy the gems and things like that. And it's basically what they're saying here is that they've designed it so that it works like Google Drive sharing. So if you're used to Google Drive sharing, when it comes to gems, it's basically the same user interface. So it's nothing new to you. So I will cover the admin controls when it comes to the sharing of gems tomorrow in our Techie Thursday session, because there are specific admin controls that you can put in place to limit or restrict which gems can and cannot be shared and copied and things like that. But we'll cover that tomorrow. This one is, again, it's using Gemini. It's to do with if you get lots of like long responses in Google Forms or paragraph responses in Google Forms, you can use Gemini to very quickly summarize those responses. So you're not having to read through paragraphs upon paragraphs of things. You can just say, analyze this response and tell me what I need to know. It's doing a similar thing, if you've noticed, in Gmail. So if you've got a Gmail chain of emails going back and forth, you now within Gmail, at the top of that email, you will have a Gemini AI summary of who's requested what, who said what, and what points of action to take. So that's a very similar thing in Forms. This one's an important one. They did announce this earlier about specific drive sharing permissions. So I'm just going to read this because it's quite important that you understand the change here. So they're going to stop allowing restricted access on specific files and folders within a shared drive. And that started September 22nd, so a couple of weeks ago. Limited access should instead be managed consistently via the limited access folder setting. Users with permission to restrict access on the parent folder will no longer see the update item only option. All right. So pay attention to that one, because if you have a lot of shared drives, and depending on how you use them, that may have an impact on your establishment. This again, Gemini, I told you it's going to be an awful lot of AI. It's sort of like it's going to allow you within Google Chat messaging. Gemini will allow you to, you can use Gemini to basically refine what you're saying. So you will get, as it says there, help to improve your clarity. to, you know, your accuracy in wording and grammar and spelling and things like that. So you can always double check before you send a chat message out to a group or whatever, that what you've sent is up to date, you know, in a respectable format. So learning guides. So this is allowing you, again, this is Notebook LM. So it allows you to, they've created now this learning guide option that basically helps students break down problems step by step. And basically, depending on what you put into Notebook LM or share out in the classroom, you can now use the learning guide to make it a lot easier for students to understand what it is they're trying to that you're trying to cover with them. This one's just an update. You've probably seen this if you use your phone a lot. It's just new Gmail notification features, both for Android and for Apple phones. So from your phone directly, you know, if you get a Gmail notification, you can just mark it as read. With iOS devices, you can send avatars now. So it's just additional functionality on the mobile device. You can see there in the little GIF, you know, you'll get the pop-up on your phone and you can automatically say archive it, reply, or mark as read. Because you don't have to, obviously on a mobile phone, you don't actually have to open the email to read it. You can just see it, scroll down on your phone, quickly get a look at it and kind of like go, yeah, I've read that. So the next time you go into your inbox, you're not having to open the original email because you've already seen it. So this is, if you've got existing Google Slides, again, using Gemini and using Google Vids, you can now take all of your content from your Google slide presentation and use it to create a video, and then use Gemini to create, you know, for that video, you can use Gemini to create a script, you can create a voiceover, you can create background music, you can do all kinds of things with it. So now this allows teachers to, if you create things in Notebook LM and in Gems, you can now push those directly into the classroom. So again, it's just another addition of Gemini into the classroom. So Gemini, if you've got it on your mobile, which I have, is now expanded so that you can use the same Gemini that you would on a Chromebook, but use it on your mobile. So if you've got a document that someone sent you on your mobile and you need to quickly sort of like analyze it and kind of like say, what's this all about? Gemini will do that now. This one is, again, this one's an important one to pay attention to, because it's a change to how chat spaces are managed. So it used to be you would have space managers and owners and just other people within there. I'll just read that because it's quite important. The existing space managers will now be owners. The owners will retain full control over the space. So this is if you've got like a group chat, so to speak. A new manager rule will be added. Managers will have most of the same permissions as the owners, but they will not be able to delete the space or upgrade users to owners. So the owner has the total control, but the managers will have most of the same permissions, but not be able to do certain things. The member role, which is where you're neither an owner nor a manager, that stays the same. And it'll tells you that both owners and managers will be able to control which roles, members, managers, or owners, have which permissions within the chat space settings. And that's it for September. Our next updates are on Wednesday, the 12th of November, and we look forward to seeing you then.
Just hope everybody understood that chat space one as well as I did. Can I still access chats? That's all I need to know. But yeah, a few changes there.
Dave.
Yeah, excellent. Hi, Dave. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you, mate, as well. Good to see you on the call today. Yeah, just on that, James, one for me, I know the Google AI Pro for Education, Gemini, Bard, Duet AI, call it what you will. Yeah, that integration on the paid editions with things like Drive is great. One of the things I use it a lot for, or it kind of helps me with, is email summary as well, where because I'll sometimes, you know, have a back and forth with Jamie. Imagine that, Dave. Imagine having a 20 email chain with Jamie, and it just it just gives you that summary, doesn't it, at the top? And I find that really useful. I don't know if anybody else, it's a feature anybody else is you know, has found handy. I think any of those they're just time-saving things, aren't they, really? Which is
it'll also give you suggestions as to how you respond.
Sure. Yeah. I quit on the last one with Jamie, so you know, maybe that's what I should be doing. And there's quite a lot of updates there, actually, James, this month. We had yeah, we had a lot, obviously, with July and August, and then quite a lot coming through in September again. Very AI focused, as we seem to expect. That seems to be where Google's ploughing a lot of its resources and money at the moment. I guess it's the hot topic at the moment, isn't it? AI. So you can kind of understand why.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, those responses that you mentioned there, James, in terms of Gmail, is probably the Gemini feature that I use more than anything else. And they've got a lot better recently as well.
Yeah.
When it first came out, that it used to be hit and miss in terms of whether the AI had actually understood the context of the conversation.
Yeah, you would sometimes look at some of the suggestions and kind of like go, I'm not sending that.
Yeah.
Really no sense.
Yeah, whereas now, you know, one of the three that it brings up is normally close to what I want to say. So it does save a lot of time when you're just trawling through your inbox and clearing down emails that you might just need a quick response to. That's probably saving me more time than anything else through Gemini at the moment. The other thing that I liked in today's announcements, which I've found really, really beneficial, is the markers red button on Android. It's just the number of times I'd kind of swipe it off to get rid of the notification and then come back to it when I was at my desktop and go, I thought I dealt with that one. I thought I got rid of that.
Yeah.
So again, it's the incremental time savings that I'm finding beneficial. So out of all of those wonderful new things that Gemini can do, it's that, and also the Sheets version,
the history
condensation of only showing me what's relevant there. Don't use it lots, but when I do use it, really useful and really relevant.
Yeah,
goes to show, isn't it, that it's the little changes to the UI and to the user experience that really can have a meaningful impact. Yes, it's great that I can now create videos, some slides using VO. Am I going to do it? Probably not. But the vast majority of users of Android are going to use that button to say markers red.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's the scope of the impact rather than the depth of the impact sometimes, isn't it, that makes a change meaningful.
Yeah, good points, Dave. Good points. And certainly, you know, if you're out and about and you get a message and you kind of like quickly read it, hit markers red, and then the next time you come back to your actual Chromebook or your desktop, you know you've dealt with it, or you know you've at least read it.
You still can't get rid of enter in chat though, Dave. Good gravy. The amount of times I chant in chat space, it's ridiculous. I'll like go enter new line. Oh, I've sent that. I do it all the time, and just force of habit from emails, you know, because I don't want to, you know, a big long email just enter on a new space, and I'm constantly like, didn't mean to send that. It's gone, but you can't. That's another thing you can't change. You know,
it'd be nice to have a toggle setting for that, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
so
just enter, turn that off, and then just a send button or something that you either press or you click on with your mouse or whatever you want to do, or with your little arrow, you know. Yeah,
I'm going to
just a good
channel
one.
my inner Paul Farrell here and say, you know what you need to do, Chris? You know that little question mark button? You need to send feedback because they all get read, and it's things like that that will really make a difference. That's kind of what Paul would say, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we'll be covering it in
The
about
spirit of Paul is alive and well.
Yeah, just thinking about that. Although he's probably in some Italian restaurant somewhere, knowing him with his obsession with the Italian language these days. But why wouldn't he rather be here? Why?
I don't know. He keeps
understand
sending us pictures of sitting in some Italian garden with some glass of wine, speaking Italian to his family and friends, and sort of I don't know why he wouldn't be here.
Yeah, no idea.
We've all had a glass of wine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good to see you on the call today, Roddy, as well, my friend.
Nice to see you. I'm sorry, I laughed, James, at the file with the restricted access versus the folder with restricted access, just because I never understood all of that. It starts to read as very Microsofty, all of that. This one can go there, and you can only do this if you've got this permission, and I'm quite pleased they've chucked that. Like, it's either in the folder or it isn't.
Yeah, precisely.
It's still not right, though, is it? You need just make it consistent with Microsoft. Make it so that you can just give permission or you can't to a folder, a drive, or a file, and it's very simple and very easy for people to understand. When they announced that change, I thought, oh, brilliant! They're finally going to align things. No, we've got the old Google way, the new Google way, and the way that the entire rest of the world works. But it keeps us on our toes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, they might change it in the months to come, Dave. You never know.
That's channeling the inner James leverage. That answer.
Yeah. Kind of like the number of people will be hitting that. This is rubbish. Please change it.
Anybody got any views on what the next name for Gemini is going to be? Because I reckon by Christmas it'll have another name.
I don't know why, and I know this is like why they dropped the Gemini name, which is still on. Obviously that's the name of the product on your mobile phone. Everybody associates it with Gemini. So why don't they just call it Gemini AI Pro for Education instead of dropping it and calling it Google AI Pro for Education? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I'm sure they paid 100,000 quid for that new name. It's like you would think that Gemini would have stayed in the education naming format. I still call it that accidentally.
Maybe some astrologer has sued them.
Who knows? Maybe. Go for it. Words of wisdom from Roddy.
No, I doubt it. Dave's bringing it back to Bard, or it'll be Duet again before long. No, I reckon I would like to see them share canvases out better. I don't know. Somebody's done that before. Does anyone here know how you can do that? I've had somebody send me one. I was like, have you exported that? But it was... the issue is probably that it needs to be able to launch HTML files from Drive, and you can't properly do that. And they probably need to fix that first before they can create the share feature, because that's how they're getting them out, isn't it? The notebooks or whatever, they're copying the sharing functionality that they've got in Workspace already. So they need to try and crack the HTML bit of that, which exposes them. There's some security headaches around that, I reckon. But I'd like to be able to, I helped somebody with their 11-year-old get some English practice questions into a cycling canvas. It was great, but then I had to show her how to put that into Notepad. And that's got her husband well on board with it, because she was like, fantastic. So he was previously disengaged in her son passing the 11 plus. Now he can do the prompting and the notebook, or I use Notepad on a Mac, but whatever it is. No, I don't use text edit, but yeah, the sort of, it's slightly clunky, that bit. I'd like that to be smoother. Now we've got Gems. Thanks very much. Next, Canvas.
And if they're going to rename anything, make it Canvas, because there's a million things called Canvas that are in existence already.
Oh yeah, and whilst you're on it, I want to be able to hop back to previous canvases slightly more easily. The button that's supposed to open them up doesn't always open them up. It loses track of what it's supposed to be showing you. Great, you're writing all this down, Chris. Dear Demis.
I just keep hitting the question mark. I just keep going question mark, question mark, question mark. Add this, change this.
I haven't got it. Yeah. It's not in my Gemini. They've removed my quest. They don't want to hear from me.
They probably banned you from Google, Roddy, with your previous record, my friend. I love it.
You've used anything?
Yeah, you've used your quote, Rob. I love it. Have you got anything on at the moment, Roddy? Are you doing any work at Google? Or you've got any sort of talks and little things
Yeah.
coming up, or are you okay? At the
No,
moment?
I think I've got a foot in the door for doing something at Bet in January, but we'll see. But no, we're supposed to have a discovery day, but the team has just absolutely run off their feet here, so we haven't been able to get across. But we've got the John Gallant from Google Cloud, Jenna, Anu, and possibly even Anna are joining us at our AI Edu Summit in a couple of weeks. So we've got that on Friday, the 24th of October, if anyone's free. It's at Slough and Langley, affectionately known as Slangley by the staff and probably some of the students. But yeah, we're it's Google are not sponsoring, but they're presenting, which is great to have them there. And then we've got David Knott, who's the government's chief technology officer, is going to do a keynote as well. And then Pearson are there. There's a Microsoft breakout. We've got some teachers talking about how they've strategized it. Great guy from Eton who's using AI on his laptop to prove how you can run an open source model locally. So yeah, some fun events. So if you want to come, feel free, sign up. I'll stick the link in. There you are.
Perfect.
Okay, I'll stop recording now if that's all right with everyone.